Hi, this is Eric Anzalone. Welcome to The Vibe here on Chakra Radio, where we spend a little time chilling with and getting to know featured artists you'll hear on Chakra. A little bit about my guest today. He's been referred to by smoothjazz.com as one of the smooth jazz elites on trumpet and flugelhorn. He's also been compared to the likes of jazz notables such as Chris Bodie, Greg Adams, and Rick Braun, and stylistically to greats like Chet Baker, Miles Davis, and Chuck Mangione. He and his group have performed at jazz festivals around the country, and his CDs have received acclaim around the world. In fact, his 2008 release, Enjoy, which features jazz guitarist Chuck Loeb, reached number 15 on the smooth jazz charts. His new CD is called A New Kind of Love, and we're going to discuss that today. It's out right now, and it's a wonderful collection of feel-good, good vibing, good grooving tunes. I'm happy to welcome smooth jazz sensation Gordon James to the show. Welcome, Gordon.
Hey, Eric. Thanks.
Yeah, how you doing, man?
It's good. Pleasure to be here.
Well, let's start off with something simple. What would you say the difference between jazz and smooth jazz is?
Well, smooth jazz is just an updated term for what they used to call fusion jazz, which Miles Davis was sort of one of the, forerunners of that genre, where he started mixing other styles of music in with jazz, funk, R&B, Latin, all different kinds of other flavored world beat music, combining that with jazz improvisation. And then somewhere along the line, that was really cool when it first came out. It was like, wow, this is like groundbreaking kind of stuff. And then somewhere along the line, the corporate
they always get involved.
They got involved, and smooth jazz all of a sudden became this sort of watered down, almost like it's been referred to as elevator music. I mean, it just really got watered down, very formulaic, and personally, I think that was sort of the demise of the genre.
Yeah, I agree. But you know, it's interesting. And after listening to a lot of your stuff, your music really is this unique fusion of jazz, R&B, Latin, hip hop, soul, pop. I mean, it's very hard to pigeonhole it into like one thing like smooth jazz. And in fact, in your own words, you say that your music is funky and lyrical. The arrangements are hip, polished, and the flugelhorn and muted trumpet are perfect for conveying the passion of my compositions. Now, when you compose, do your songs come from a certain mood or event that's affected you personally, like, sitting on a beach with someone you love or getting a good piece of news? You say, I got to write a song about this. Or do they come out of like a riff or something that you stumbled on or been working on, and then in turn that riff defines the mood or passion of the song?
Yeah, I would say a little bit of both. I mean, a song can come anyway. Usually I play a little piano, and I'll sit down at the piano and I'll just start playing. And you're right, a lot of times a riff will come out, or a bass line or something like that, or even like maybe I'll be going through the loops on my Logic Pro system, and I get a nice loop, and I can build a tune off of that. So a lot of times that's how it happens. And then a lot of times I'll just sit down and start playing, and this beautiful chord progression and melody just comes out, and then I just sort of go from there. So it kind of always depends on where you're at the time,
And on to the lyrical aspect of your work. I think we've all been trained to listen to like the human voice to get to the heart of a song and its meaning, but instruments, they do the same thing. If we just listen, I personally think they can be even more expressive. And if you take, for example, your fabulous interpretation of Sting's song Fragile on your new CD, I mean, I gotta ask you, when you're playing the horn, like on a song like that, where, you might already know the lyrics or people have heard it, are you actually thinking about the lyrics, or are you using the horn as a voice, using your aperture, phrasing, and your volume to substitute for words, or is it really more of a feeling thing? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. Tell you the truth, I don't even know the lyrics.
Excellent.
I mean, I know the chorus lyrics, on and on, whatever it is, but I don't know all the lyrics to this thing. I know that song is not about a happy subject.
No.
So I sort of try and get that feeling across of, the pain involved in it and the sadness. But no, I don't generally think of lyrics when I'm...
Right. Yeah.
It's more just like expressing a feeling and a passion or whatever
Sure.
it is, you know.
Yeah. Paul McCartney's first instrument was a trumpet. A lot of people don't know that, but he was frustrated, by the fact he couldn't sing and play, so he switched to the guitar. And on your new CD, you sing on a few tracks where, you're singing lead. I mean, did you ever feel like McCartney did, and is that why you decided to take the mic and sing?
You know what? Interesting story. I mean, I sort of grew up in the era of the Beatles, and when I was at that age, in my teens, I sang. I was in a rock and roll band. I played my trumpet too, and played a little organ, but I also sang a lot, and somehow I just got away from it. And about 2 years ago, I was trying to figure out some ways that I could work more, because I think because of the fact that I haven't totally bought into the smooth jazz thing, I haven't been able to work as much in that genre as I had hoped to. So I started thinking of ways, how can I work more, And I started doing more of the going back to more of the old time jazz, the jazz standards and those kind of songs, and realized, you know what, I could sing these songs, I started singing again. So about 2 years ago, I just started doing it, and I've been getting better and better. I just did a gig this past Friday night up in Morristown at a restaurant, and with just me and a piano player, and I probably sang 80% of the time,
Cool.
Nobody was. They were clapping, so
awesome. That's a good sign.
Not bad.
Yeah. So let's talk about your new release, New Kind of Love. It's been described as Motown meets jazz and modern R&B. Tell us something about it. Your approach to combining the tracks and the originals and covers, and anything else you want to share.
Yeah, sure. I had a blast doing that record. This another quick story. I had been spending a ton of money going into studios recording my previous CDs, and finally thought, there's got to be a way I can do this on my own. So I went to Guitar Center, and the guy told me about this program that Apple has, a pro recording studio program in your computer. I bought it, and I did this entire record on that system, and I was able to do everything myself. What I would do is I would come up with a song and basically flush everything out, the drum programming and the loops and all that kind of stuff, and I'd put a temporary piano part on it and a temporary bass part on it and get the whole thing arranged. And then I would call up my guys that play with me live and say, I want you to come in and play the piano part on this tune.
Yeah.
Come in, they'd erase my piano part and put their piano part on, and
cool.
Same with the bass, and it just worked out great. I mean, it saved me a ton of money.
Yeah, I bet.
So it was just a real fun process. It took me a long time, almost 2 years.
Wow.
But I also did a lot of songs that I ended up not using on the CD. So,
well, and I've read a little bit of what people have said about the CD and stuff, and I definitely have to agree with this quote that it's upbeat, feel-good music that will uplift and inspire the listener. I mean, for example, I totally dig what you did with the standard "Smile," which is another song you sing lead on, and a lot of people don't know this, but that was a Charlie Chaplin composition, and the lyrics were added in the 50s. But what I like you did, because every rendition I've ever heard of this song from Nat King Cole on, it features tempos and arrangements that, just rip your heart out. Here's a song about smiling when your heart is breaking, which is hard enough to do without listening to a song that just kills you. But you added an upbeat tempo and a spirited tone to the song. It really can coax a smile out. I mean, was this something you gave thought to, or?
Yeah, well, I another thing I've been doing lately is I've been going into senior places and playing a lot for seniors, and I do that to just tracks, and that's how that song came about. I just started fooling around, and I thought, same thing you just said. Everybody does this song so melancholy. I mean, to me, it doesn't make sense. It should be like a happy song. I mean, it's supposed to be about smiling.
Right.
And so I added a sort of a Latin beat to it, and that sort of thing, and I started going out and doing it for the seniors, and then when I was doing the CD, I said, what, I should work some more on this tune and put it on my CD, and that's how that came about. That bass player came in and just did a fabulous track on it.
Yeah, I loved it. I loved it. You know, and I also think, you know, as we get older and wiser, our artistic endeavors, you know, mirror a sort of spiritual growth. You know, personally, I used to write music about drinking beer and beautiful women when I was in my 20s, but now a lot of my stuff is more with questions like, where am I going? How am I going to get there? Or the awesome power of a sunrise, you know, along with the occasional drinking beer and beautiful women song. But now the tone of A New Kind of Love is indeed inspirational, and it's loaded with universal themes of self-empowerment, peace, and love. Are these elements that you've recently discovered in your life and now incorporated in your music, or are they tenets that you've always sort of lived by?
Sort of always lived by it, but I would say in the past few years I've kind of stepped it up a little bit. Really been working on myself, personal growth-wise, and also just feeling like, you know, the state of the world is just like, I just felt like I wanted to do something, and this is the talent I have, and I thought, well, you know, maybe I can come up with some sort of messages and, you know, ideas that might inspire people to live more in that way. You know?
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, the last song, the last track, Make It Your Day, I mean, that's perfect daily affirmation set to music.
Yeah, I just really sort of wanted to, like, you know, and also, you know, I thought, why not sort of go after that market, those people that are into personal growth, and give them some things that they can listen to as well. You know, I'm sort of trying to stretch my audience a little bit, I think, by adding those kind of songs.
Very cool. So, all right, well, all you out there in Cyberland, I encourage you to go out there and get this CD by Gordon James, A New Kind of Love. It's got a great mix of grooves and moods from The Ghetto, which is this really cool multi-textured piece with like a Puente Santana-esque Oye Como Va feel and cool horn lines, and a dirty Berger bass sax. Which horn is that on that? Do you know?
Yeah, it's a Barry sax sample. You know.
Yeah, well, it's got a great sound to it, and then you kick it old school on songs like No Diggity, and you got some great covers on there, which we talked about, and some wonderful bright tunes like the title track. Now, I know it's available at iTunes. Is there anywhere else that our listeners can get it?
Oh yeah, iTunes, Amazon.com, CDBaby.com. If they go to my website, GordonJamesMusic.com,
right,
and go to the music page, it has links to all the places that you can get it.
All right. Well, yeah. So I was just going to say, for more info on Gordon, definitely go to his website, GordonJamesMusic.com. And well, listen, Gordon, I'd like to thank you for sharing today on the Vibe.
Yeah, Eric, thanks for having me.
Yeah, and lastly, all you out there in Cyberland, be sure to visit my home here at Chakra, which is www.chakradio.com/Eric-Anzalone.html. And check out my monthly Bodhi blog, as well as interviews with other featured artists on the Vibe. Until next time, this is Eric Anzalone reminding you, don't just listen to the music, make your own.